live. There we go. A little bit of a delay. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in at this time. Everybody that's here, I greatly appreciate it. Anybody that's watching this on the replay, thank you so much. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Not a good game, right? I mean, this is not how we wanted to come out and play after winning the in-season tournament. This was an important game for seeding purposes and stuff. This really would have been a great win. And this is a game that I believe the Lakers should have won. I think that this was a game that the Lakers just let get away from them. And you got to win these ones, right? This was really disappointing. It felt in many ways this was the Lakers getting back to bad habits, right? You played so well in the in-season tournament, and then you come into this and just falling into bad habits again, giving up all kinds of just wide open threes, wide open looks, not taking care of the basketball, causing turnovers, digging yourself into holes like you like to do when we were doing so good about not doing that stuff. It's just Lakers got to be better. They got to be better in these stretches. Look, I get it's the first game back. You kind of have that little hangover or whatever, but still, you got to, like I said, you got to figure it out. You got to pull through these games. You got to find ways to win these games. Once again, another road game. We've been excellent at home, and another road game that we lost, right? It's like we got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot here. We got to start putting ourselves in position to get more consistency, get more wins, things like that. So it's very frustrating, and we gotta stop with these habits. AD and LeBron were great. Reeves had a great game. Rui was solid too. We'll get into the stats here in a minute. But yeah, like I said, got to do a better job. We got the Spurs, but the question is, like, do we play LeBron and AD against the Spurs, right? Like, at some point they're going to need to get rest, right? So I don't know. It's this is a game. It's frustrating because this is a game that we should have won, right? This is a game that I feel like we had no excuses in not winning. Right? You allow Dante Exum to have a career night, which seems to be a trend with the Lakers, right? It's always some random role guy that just comes out of left field and just has a career night, and then Tim Hardaway Jr. is over here playing like Kyrie Irving. Just like this. These are the games that you have to win. You got to win these. I know we're on the road. I know we're coming off of an in-season tournament win, which was great. It was fantastic. But we're back in reality now. We're back into the regular season where this counts, where this matters. This is the thing that we needed to get. So, we got to do a better job. But anyway, real quick, let's get into the stats here, and then I'll dive into all of your super chats and chat and all that stuff. I see that there's a couple super chats already. Thank you so much. Hang tight for a minute, and then we'll get to those. But diving into the box score real quick. Like I mentioned, LeBron James was great. 33 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, almost a triple-double, 3 steals, 1 block, 4 turnovers. Then you had Anthony Davis, who he gave us 37, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks with only 2 turnovers. So he really took care of the basketball. He was excellent. He even shot 50% from 3, hit that huge 3. When he hit that 3 at the end of the third to go into the fourth, I thought we were going to win this game. Like, genuinely, I was like, okay, like, Lakers are good. Like, that was the momentum shift we needed. That was a huge play. AD's playing huge. LeBron's playing huge. We're going to close this game down the stretch. And unfortunately, we didn't. Luckily, Taurean Prince is continuing to hit shots. I really like that for the future of this team. All right, we need Taurean Prince to continue to be money from the 3-ball, which he was today, 5 of 6. I'm not necessarily expecting him to be 5 of 6 from 3, but, at least 40% would be nice. Somewhere in that ballpark. Gave us 15 points. Austin Reeves continues to shine. Picked up right where he left off. And his 3-point shot was falling. He's been very bad shooting the 3-ball this year. Luckily, this game, he had a couple crazy ones that went in. Hopefully, that's a good sign that he's starting to get into his rhythm, get into his flow, so we can go pull out some more wins with him. But he gave us 22, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. So really was having himself a game. D'Lo, he's got to be better. He just does. He had a couple nice plays, hit a couple nice shots, couple highlighted assists, but we need more than just kind of a couple flashy assists, right? I talk about it all the time. We just can't seem to regularly get a D'Lo and Reeves game. It's always one or the other. It's like if D'Angelo Russell is money and he's on and he's torching folks, then you can almost expect Austin Reeves to just be a no-show. If Reeves is cooking, he's having himself a game, you can expect D'Lo to be a no-show. We need guys to step up, not name LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves, right? Like, we got to do that. Defensively, we got to be better. I know Jared Vanderbilt didn't play this game. He's coming back from the injury. They're trying to monitor him. It's the first game of a back-to-back. I expect him to play tomorrow against the Spurs. But this is a game that we should have won regardless. Right? Like, we had this game. This is a game that we should have won. We just failed to execute down the stretch. We couldn't stop Dallas. Couldn't stop Dante Exum. Right? The guy was headed overseas and out of the league like a year ago, and he has a career night against the Lakers. Right? Which, like I mentioned earlier, that seems to be a trend more times than not. I love that we got the in-season tournament. I love that we won that. That's great. It's huge for momentum. But we got to start winning these road games, and we got to start winning and get out of these bad habits. The Lakers got into bad habits again. Look, Dallas shot ridiculously well, right? But you got to make the stops when you need to, right? So anyway, again, let's dive into all of your super chats and then your questions and stuff. I appreciate that. Starting us off, $2 super chat. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Ham isn't him. What was he thinking? Not calling time out. Where at the end of the game, you're talking about the end of the game with like 5 seconds left. The Lakers the Lakers should have probably fouled and stuff. I think the Lakers just gave in the towel. This is a game that they should have won. You know, they had the momentum, they had the wave, they couldn't make stops, they couldn't string stops together. Like, could he have called a timeout at the end to like extend the ball, maybe get a shot, then you play the foul game? But like that, like, we can't make free throws. Like, that's what drives me crazy. Like, Dallas was gonna make those free throws. I don't think that timeout changed anything. I think the Lakers just threw in the towel and just called it a night. Right? I do. Like, you look at Dallas. They were 18 of 21 from the free throw line, 85.7%. You look at the Lakers, literally look at the Lakers, and they were 12 of 18, 66%. Literally, like, you make half of those, you win. AD can't make free throws. Reeves even missed a free throw, right? Like, LeBron struggles at the free throw line at times. Like, it's just, this team needs to work on its free throws. I get maybe you should have called timeout. I think the game was over regardless. I get for just the sake of like, hey, we should win it, call it sooner or whatever. But I don't know. I don't think that was the difference maker, if I'm being honest. I just think the Lakers just kind of fell back in old habits and got to do a better job. But again, really appreciate that. D'Lo needs to go. I need to replace him in a trade. We will be a better team. By the way, December 15th is when we can trade him, right? So I believe D'Lo is the 15th. But the problem is no trades happening until the 15th because we wouldn't be able to match salaries and all kinds of stuff. We have several guys that are tradable, and you're not just swapping D'Lo straight up, right? Most guys you're going to have to do like a multi-thing. Don't expect any trade till close to the trade deadline, right? Even after January 15th, when pretty much everyone's available and we can trade for whatever, right? Don't expect any trades until the trade deadline. I know a lot of people on December 15th are going to be hooting and hollering going, all right, time to make a trade. It's not going to say it's not going to happen because you never really know, but don't hold your breath. Don't get your hopes up on a trade December 15th or even January 15th because the Lakers, most of their contracts aren't tradable till January 15th. This game was a disappointment. That's a great way to put it. This was just a very, very disappointing game. Lakers lazy defense play again. Can't win good teams, always win bad teams. I mean, they've beaten good teams, but still, they got to do a better job. Back D'Lo's bags, please. I think he's getting traded at some point. These Lakers have the game of their lives and only win by 2. What a joke. Hey, I mean, but that's what frustrates me. As great as they played the Lakers, this was a game that the Lakers should have won. Are you ready to admit Rui is trash? Did you not watch the game? Rui Rui was fine. Dude, what do you expect from a guy that gets no consistency game in and game out? His only role is to back up LeBron James and play 10 minutes a game. He gets no real calls, no real opportunities. Tell me your basketball IQ without telling me your basketball IQ. Like this has to be the most casual comment I've ever seen. Like seriously, like stop stat watching. Watch the games. That's it's such a silly comment. Frustrating loss. Yeah, seriously, that's a great way to put it. We better not lose to Spurs. That's if they play everybody. Um, why would you leave a hot shooter so much in the fourth? I mean, again, just getting into bad habits, falling back into the habits that we saw early in the season is bad. It's bad. No defense without Vanderbilt. Trade D'Lo and Austin Reeves. No, you're not trading both. Yeah, D'Lo was rough. Missed free throws. Reeves trying to run over everyone, resulting in 3 charges. Get 25, and Hardaway get 30. Love this team. We need Vando to win, I guess. Apparently, 4 times free throws that cost the game. Yeah, I mean when you miss 6 free throws, if you make 3 of those, you win. Would have been locking up everyone yet. Let's see. Dante Exum scored 17 in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, credit to Dante Exum, right? You got to tip your cap to the man. I mean, he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do for the team. Lakers just didn't. Lakers just, the hot hand, right? You got to take into account of that. You got to play. You got to plan for that, right? Like, they just leaving him wide open, expecting him to miss, and the guy was lights out. The guy was absolute money. Let's see. Hachimura is not overrated. Again, watch the games. The guy gets no consistency, no consistent minutes. Half of his shots were bailout shots, one of which he hit. The guy gets no play calls, no nothing. Like, the Lakers use him the worst way possible, which is why I think he's going to end up getting traded, because he doesn't have a role on this team as long as LeBron's on this team. He was supposed to be post LeBron James, right? But every time you see, like when LeBron's out, the game LeBron missed, Rui dominated. He was brilliant, right? Because he got post touches. He got touches to where he could operate in the mid range. Again, stop stat watching and actually watch the games. They play defense down the stretch. We just couldn't get stops. Yeah, exactly. What's going on, Lee? Appreciate you being here. What is up? Why were we switching so much? It's like it's law, because I mean that's most teams' defensive schemes, even the Lakers. Because I mean you just put out the size and you just switch everything. It was working. It was working in the third. We let XM and Hardaway beat us literally. D'Lo needs to go. Why was Vanderbilt out? Injury or re-aggravated injury? No, it's first game of a back-to-back. We never won against good teams. We can only win bad teams. I mean, we didn't beat teams like Suns and stuff like that. Didn't happen. When did it turn into prime Clay, Ray or Clay? Seriously, it's crazy to me. It's crazy. It's like regularly that just some like random guy ends up having a great game. Like Dante Exum was literally out of the league like a year ago, and it just had a career night. Yeah, I think it's time to trade D'Lo. I'm tired of the dude, and trade Rui as 2. And Vando should have played this game. No defense from the team. Too many turnovers. They let the opposing team make too many threes. Yeah, I mean, again, I think the plan was probably to swap Reddish and Vando. So Reddish plays this game. He's been more fresh. He's got more games. He's been very good defensively this year. And then you let him get some rest in Vando. But we'll see. We'll see what they do now because they lost this game. So the Lakers gave away a lot of threes. They could have easily won this one, man. We could see Dallas in the playoffs. So there's a lot of to learn from this game. Yeah, I mean, we could absolutely see Dallas. I'm still not super sold on Dallas, if I'm being honest. I'm not. They've had like one of the easiest schedules of the season thus far, and they've had their struggles this year. I mean, they're definitely going to be in the playoffs, but they had an extremely hot night, like literally like shut the lights out type of night, and got career nights from Dante Exum and guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. and stuff like that, and it was a 2-point game. The Lakers should have won. I trust come playoff time, we'd get the job done. So I'm not really worried about it, but it's a game. It's a game that you gotta win. You gotta win these games. Let's see. AD played great, leaving people wide open. Is the reason we lost. No respect. Yeah, gotta close out. Always scrub players looking like prime Jordan, Kobe, shaking my head every time, like clockwork, every time. I don't think it was lucky. I mean, that's what Dallas does. They have like the most 35% 3-point shooters in the league. Like their entire game is just jacking up three. They literally live by the three, die by the three. It's Luka, applying interior pressure and then drive and kick. Everyone chipped in, Badillo, yeah. Let's see. I heard Vando back issue probably aggravated. I don't know how much of it was just precaution. I know like that was like the report, but you see that stuff like that all the time where it's like, oh, he has soreness. And it's just they're usually leaving him out. I mean, we'll know more tomorrow. I mean, if he's out tomorrow, then yeah, that possibly could be the case. DeRozan for D'Lo and Wood, JHS, and a first go all in. I think that they need to do something. I do too. I think that you still gotta make a move, which is why I've talked about how I think the Lakers still need to make a trade, even though they won the in-season tournament. They still have clear, blatant flaws. Let's see. How is Exum wide open on his 3-pointers? Because the Lakers made an effort to try to trap Tim Hardaway Jr. and Luka, which leaves somebody open, and that one person that was open was Exum. Our defense did suck today. Should have won this game. Rest LeBron and AD. I thought they should have too. Now I don't think you can rest LeBron and AD. Maybe you rest one of them, but always some street dude with 10-day contract every time. Yeah, we still need a trade. Exactly, which is why I've talked about it. The Lakers still have several blatant, blaring holes. The defensive part and them just giving up a bunch of threes, I don't think like that's the signal that they need a trade, but they still have a lot of like breakdowns that need to be solved. XM 7 of 3 from 3, 28% 3-point shooter, by the way. I'm done with like every dime. I'm telling you, every dime. It's like clockwork. You can always count on somebody to just take over. Lakers perimeter defense was horrible, including LeBron included. Yeah, this was just a no effort type of defense again. I mean, literally, Dallas got everything that they want. Everything that they want. Let's see. Exum shot 8 of 23 the whole season before this game. Yeah, and then you got this game. And he made as many threes this game or almost as many threes this game as he's made the whole season. It's frustrating. Believe me, it is very frustrating. Rui was horrible, leaving people missing hella good shots. Everyone was this wasn't Rui. We didn't lose the game because of Rui Hachimura. Like why was Darvin Ham not subbing anyone? So frustrating. What do you mean? Towards the end of the game? I mean, he went with the closing lineup that's won us games. I mean, who is he supposed to sub in? Let's see. We should have won this. I agree. Why we didn't double and trap Luka? Why we shooting so many threes when we just beat the highest rated offense and only hit 2 threes? Why did we force feed AD? Oh my God. Or why didn't we force feed AD? I mean, AD had 37 points. I mean, like how much more is he supposed to do? But I mean, look, I don't like some of the shot selection from 3. Even LeBron had that one where it was like a 4-point game or whatever, and he just shot that 3, or maybe it was a 3-point game. I'm not talking about the heat check one. I'm talking about the one like in the 4th. Again, do what's working. Be aggressive, be physical. Problem is though, and this is something that I talked about after the win, right? The NCAA tournament win. It's really hard to do that over 82 games. It's easy to do that for one game, right? One game, you just have one win. Like if the Lakers, let's say it's Game 7 against the Denver Nuggets, I wouldn't be shocked if they took if they didn't take a single three and they just head down, everybody drive to the basket, get everyone in foul trouble. But to do that game in and game out, night in and night out, it's a lot of exhaustion, a lot of just wear and tear, getting hacked, getting hit. Excuse me. It's not as simple as you would think. Too many easy baskets for the Mavs. Yes, agreed. Way too many easy baskets. This was just an inexcusable game by the Lakers. You got to win these. Anthony, thank you so much. Yes, please take a second, hit that like button. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, closing in on 18K. I'm excited. I'm okay with this one. When a role player goes off for 7 3-pointers and Hardaway is also on fire, it's annoying, but chalk it up as a WTF. Yeah, I mean, look, I still feel like the Lakers, like, my problem is this wasn't just like an outlier game, right? Like, if this was an outlier game where it was just like, hey, look, things like this happen because they do happen, right? Guys just shoot the lights out, and some random guy that you thought was only going to play 3 minutes plays 30 and just beat you. It happens, right? But the problem is this is like before, not counting remove the in-season tournament games, because the Lakers were fantastic throughout that entire in-season tournament. You remove those games, this was a constant thing with the Lakers. First quarters just getting smacked, first halves getting smacked. Lakers down 15, trying to play catch up. Right, they were down I think as much as 17 at one point. Right, they're just getting smacked, playing catch up, not closing out, not playing hard, getting offensive rebound. I mean, how many times this game did we see, 3 or 4 Laker jerseys and a Dallas player ends up with the basketball? And it wasn't like Lively or anybody like that. It was like some random guy off the bench. It was like Jaden Hardy or something like that. Would just like out rebound 4 Lakers. Like, those are the things that are frustrating. Not rotating, right? How many times do we have like a great trap set? Like there was that one play where Lively, just slipped the screen and then came up and then just easy dunk. Somebody's got to rotate to that. You see the slip. I think it was Taurean Prince was right there. Prince has got to rotate to that. Rotate. It's just lack of communication, lack of awareness. Again, this has kind of been a trend with the Lakers this year, which is why I'm not like, I don't think it's like panic mode. Like, I'm not like, oh, that's it, Lakers season's over or anything like that. But I do think it is something that the Lakers need to work on. They really do. They need to work on because it's been something that's been a problem all season. What's going on, Daniel? Appreciate you being here. How are you? Let's see. Free throws and turnovers cost the Lakers. Yeah. I mean, and lack of stops, but yeah. I mean, those are definitely two things that were big highlights. LeBron had 4 stocks this game. Our offense is so ugly and easy to stop because we don't, again, which is why I've talked about the need for like a DeMar DeRozan. I'm not really, if Zach LaVine was making like $20 million, I would do everything I could to trade for Zach LaVine. If Zach LaVine was making even like $25 million, I'd probably do everything you could to get Zach LaVine. I know he's injury prone. I know he has an injury history, but that dude would make the Lakers so dynamic. Problem is he's $40 million. If he wasn't $40 million, then I'd probably be on board for trading for him. But if I'm the Lakers, like, you got to go get a DeMar DeRozan. You got to go get somebody like that. The Lakers need a consistent over-the-top scorer, over-the-top shooting, somebody that can hit big shots down the stretch, somebody that when our offense is stagnant and it's not working or guys aren't hitting shots, you can just dump the ball to and he can just go get a bucket, right? Reeves has to work so hard for his shots, and he gets tunnel vision a lot. Again, Reeves was great this game. I'm not trying to take anything from Austin Reeves, and he was great in the in-season tournament. I loved Austin Reeves, right? And I still love Austin Reeves, but Austin Reeves does get tunnel vision a lot, right? He coming off the ball, he gets too aggressive. He's trying to seek and find contact. That's how you end up, he's just trying to bulldoze his way into the lane, which works sometimes. And then other times you end up getting, all these offensive fouls and stuff, all these charges and stuff, right? Like, we need somebody that has been there, done that, has a history of like, I can go get you 20, right? Where that way Reeves, the pressure for him to be great and the pressure for him to have to go and hit big shots down the stretch and all that stuff, it's not as important. It's not as high. And so when he's able to still do that, then it's like, okay, we're probably winning most games. But when you have a guy like a DeMar DeRozan who game in and game out, night in and night out, quarter in and quarter out, he can just go give you that constant. When you're sitting LeBron, you have him to just go in there and just go get a bucket. Or when you're sitting LeBron and AD, you have a guy like a DeMar DeRozan who can just go and get buckets, right? So those are the things that that the Lakers need to find. Second chance points are the story as usual. Again, a lot of bad habits that the Lakers just fell back into. No Vando really hurt. Yeah. I mean, Vando came back and we immediately jumped to the number one defense in the league, as I mentioned. And that was with him playing minimal minutes. Imagine him playing significant minutes. They lost in the first quarter. Slow start are killing them. No Vanderbilt. Yeah. Like I said, I don't have any real word on Vando. It's the first of a back-to-back, so I'm sure we'll find out more tomorrow. Let's see. They let them make too many threes, and Vando had to not play this game. Like, come on. You literally came from an injury. Now you go out again already. I mean, that's the problem, though. Right? Like, he just came back. Do you really want to play him back-to-back games? I mean, I guess, like, you could have played him for this game, but then what? You're going to sit him on the Spurs game. You're going to sit Reddish on the Spurs game. You're going to sit LeBron and AD in the games, right? Like, again, the Lakers are trying to get to the playoffs healthy, right? You don't want to overwork Vando, who basically hasn't played all season, has been minimal workouts and stuff. You overexert him, and now you're in trouble. Let's see. After the third, we should have carried more. I thought we were. I like when AD hit that three, I was like, oh, here we go. I was like, absolute money. Let's get it. That's my guess is back-to-back. I mean, we don't know for certain. I'm sure we'll find that out eventually. But as far as I know, or as far as my guess goes, that's probably what it was. So who's turning up on the Spurs against the Lakers tomorrow? Yeah, facts. Dude, especially with the Spurs winning or losing. They're on a 17-game losing streak. You better not be the team that gives that up. They just kept – I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. We still should have trapped Luka all night. We should have played them like they played the Pacers. The problem is Luka's size, right? It works against Tyrese Halliburton because he's small, right? But Luka's big enough to where, like, he can neutral – like, the advantage we had compared to, like, the Boston Celtics and stuff like that, right? Like, you look at what Tyrese was able to do to, like, Derek White and Drew Holiday because they're basically at an even playing field, right? So he's able to kind of still get passes over the defense. He's able to kind of fight through those traps. But when you put a 6'8" guy with a 7'2" wingspan and then bring another 6'8" guy with, like, a 7'1" wingspan, it's really hard for a guy that's, what is he, 6'3" or whatever, 6'5", to come in and, fight through that size, get passes over the top, stuff like that. So he's got to kind of get the ball out of his hands quick. But Luka, who's 6'8", 230 or whatever, right? It's like the equivalent of Tyrese Halliburton going up against or getting trapped by two guards. Like, Luka can pass over that. He can see over the top of that. He can get in between those. He has the size to bump those guys which way. So Vanderbilt neutralizes a lot of that because he's just so skilled and he's so quick on the recovery. Like, and this is why I've talked about, like, I've had so many people tell me that, no, Cam Reddish is clearly the better defensive player. He's been great. Like, no, you start Reddish. No, what Jared Vanderbilt does, like, Cam Reddish has been fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I love Cam Reddish has been A1. He gets an A++ in my book for the level of defense he's played. He's not Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt just has better natural instincts. He has a better recovery rate, right? Like, Cam Reddish, when he gets beat, he has a really hard time recovering, right? But Vando, I mean, how many times have we seen Vando just make a mistake or go for the ball and just get beat? And then it's like he teleported in front of the guy and he's still there. Or he can defend 4 or 5 guys at once. Like the game the other day, like where the commentator was like, Vando's defending 5 guys, like every guy on the court at once. Like Vanderbilt he makes up so much ground. Cam Reddish is an excellent individual defensive guy. He's got good size, good length. He's got the athleticism. He's got the foot speed. He's got everything you want to be an elite defensive guy. He's fantastic. He's not Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt is arguably the best on-ball defender, best perimeter defender in the entire league. the entire league. Cam Reddish is great, but he's not that, right? And that's the difference. So like when you are able to put Vando on a Luka, then you are able to cover so much more ground. So now you don't have to do all the traps and get beat and then leave a Dante Exum open or leave, somebody else open. Because like everyone was stroking on him, right? Like it was a rough night. Let's see. We need both no win, no rest for AD and Bron. Need both games. But we'll drop one. Yeah, I feel like you got to play them. If after losing this game, I really do. I have no idea, but I have no idea why. But the Lakers always seem to give up so many threes on the road. Honestly, I think the Lakers team isn't on the level of the Celtics tonight. They're not right now. Like 100%. You're right. Look, I've talked about this before. Like the Lakers aren't a true contender yet. They're very good, right? They're an excellent team. I believe that they can. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers haven't won the championship. And we've seen, you get the domino to fall your way. And plus, if LeBron James and Anthony Davis are healthy come playoffs, I'll take my chances, right? Like, good luck beating those two in the playoffs in a 7-game series, right? So I absolutely believe that they can. But like, if I had to put my money up right now, the Lakers would probably be the third or fourth team I'd bet on. Like they're just not there yet. That doesn't mean they won't get there. That doesn't mean they won't figure it out, whether it's via trade or they just figure it out, with this team, which I still think that this team has a lot of holes that they need to address. But look, it's just they're not the Celtics and the Nuggets are clearly the two best teams. They've proven that all season. The Lakers are in that like next tier with like several other teams, right? So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Trying to get traded at this point. I said without Vando we wouldn't have won. Why didn't Darvin Ham play Cam Reddish in the fourth? Rui was unplayable. Well, because he was trying to put Rui on Luka to match the size and physicality, which Rui actually was doing a pretty decent job, and just getting the ball out of Luka's hands. But I mean, Luka's just Luka. I mean, the guy's ridiculous. So because Luka was just abusing Reddish, he was abusing everybody that was on him. He was getting everything he wanted, finding other men, getting other guys involved. So I understand the logic. Like Rui's got the size and physicality. Problem is Rui can't defend quicker players, but Luka's so slow, like in just the pace in which he plays, that you can have Rui kind of negate that. And like I said, it worked for the most part, but then you swap that for Taurean Prince, which I didn't mind because our offense just got stagnant. I don't really hate that he did that. I mean, you could have put Reddish, but Reddish wasn't bothering Luka at all this game. Like he just wasn't. Like Luka was getting everything he wanted. So I don't mind him trying to find something that works. The defensive plan was the dumbest. It wasn't. It really wasn't. It looked dumb because you had Dante Exum shoot 7 of 8 from 3. Any defensive scheme that you have, you do this. I mean, they basically ran the same defensive scheme that they did, or similar to what they did against the Pacers. But when you have guys that just shoot the lights out, there's nothing you can do, right? I mean, like go back and watch that Pacers game. Several guys, like even Buddy Hield, got like 3 or 4 like wide open looks and just didn't get it. You have to give up something to get something, right? So the whole idea was to try to slow down and make Luka work because they didn't have Kyrie. And they tried to do that. Tim Hardaway Jr. was just ridiculous. Dante Exum was ridiculous. You had like 3 or 4 guys hit like 3 threes for the Mavericks. Like who else was it? Grant Williams was 5 of 7 from 3. Like it looks bad when guys are shooting the lights out. Like when everyone's hitting, it doesn't matter what defensive scheme you have. Any defensive scheme you have, you're gonna end up looking bad. So I don't think it was a bad defensive scheme. I just think Dallas hit their shots, which credit Dallas. The pendulum swing. Yep, I say it all the time, Andrew. Thank you so much for super chat. Really do appreciate that. Pendulum swing without a doubt. DeMar Prince, Vando, LeBron, AD. I wouldn't mind that at all. Especially with Prince shooting the way he's shooting, I think you'd have to keep him in there, right? And you just make LeBron the pseudo point guard. DeMar DeRozan can run the point. He did it with San Antonio. and did it effectively with San Antonio. So like I fully could see him kind of handling that. But yeah, we got to get somebody like a DeMar DeRozan. We got to get that constant, consistent score. We need that guy that can take pressure off of LeBron, take pressure off of AD. Because like, look at it like this: if you had D'Lo, if you had DeMar DeRozan over D'Lo, do you think the Lakers would lose this game today? I don't. So if you could do that, you make it happen. But again, appreciate that. Yeah, 4-8 on the road. The Lakers have been terrible on the road. Terrible. At the end of the game, we were down 5 with 30 seconds left and did not foul. Like, what is that coaching? I just think, like I said, I just think they packed it in. I mean, everybody just seemed tired, seemed burnt. I just think they were just like, hey, it's over. Let's call it a night. Which sucks, but, let's see. Exum got like 10 free threes, and they just kept getting collapsed. Yeah, I mean, when he's hot, he's hot. You got to account for the hot hand. The Lakers just didn't make the adjustment and didn't account for the hot hand. Our offense didn't lose in this game. Just was our defense. I hope Indian Vegas defense wasn't a fluke. I don't think so. I mean, the Lakers, even without that, were excellent defensively. They'll be fine. Please trade D'Lo and Wood for OG Anunoby, if only. Don't hold your breath on that. The Raptors probably aren't trading him, and 2, even if they did trade him, you're talking more assets than we have to trade. Like, they want multiple first-round picks. We only have 1 that we can trade. If we had DeMar over D'Lo last season, would be at 18. I actually think so too, because again, that entire series was divided. Was the difference of 24 points. DeMar DeRozan would have made that difference, even with a non-healthy LeBron. So I'm right there with you. I'm with you there, Andrew. But yeah, I mean, again, we got to get somebody. Got to go get a consistent go-to scorer. I mean, that's just what it is. We really do. We need it. We need it badly. Let's see. Anyway, appreciate you. I know. Let's see. I think they need to run action for Rui and see what happens. Look, I've talked countlessly about how I think that they need to put Rui in some more actions, call his number a couple more times, do a little more. But they're not going to, as long as LeBron's on this team, because the problem is Rui is solely a 4. They've tried to let him play the 3. He just doesn't have the lateral quickness to stay in front of these guys, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with him being a 4. The problem is that LeBron James at this stage of his career has to play the 4. It's just too much. It's just too taxing on him to play any other position other than the 4, right? He can do it down the stretch or in a spot or something like that if he needed to, but game in and game out, season in and season out, it's too much. You're going to wearing him down. He's not going to be fresh for the playoffs, or he's going to be hurt, right? So yeah, the problem is that Rui is very limited in where you can slot him. So it's like, that's why it's not a coincidence that the games that LeBron misses, Rui has great games, because he gets 30 minutes and he gets the ball in his spots, and he has the freedom to do things, right? When he's on the court, he's basically just relegated to be a spot up 3-point shooter. That's not his game. He can hit the occasional 3, sure, but he's not a dead eye. He's not a 3-and-D guy, right? He's a guy that can play defense against bigger, sizable players, and he's a guy that can hit the occasional open 3. But he's not some guy that you want just like standing in the corner just jacking up 5 threes a game. Now, that's just not his game. He's a guy that you need to put on the block. He's a mid-range assassin. You run some sets, you run some pick and pops, you run some screen action, get him open and let him go to work, let him get the blow by, whatever. Use his size and his strength to bump the defender. Like, there's a lot of things that you could do to get him the basketball. Problem is that they just don't, right? He's because he's like the 7th guy on the team, right? If that, he's probably farther down on the totem pole than that. So it's one of those things. It's tough, right? It's a tough spot for him to be in, which is why I think ultimately him and D'Lo get traded. It's why I've said the entire time, I think him and D'Lo get traded. And people have said, oh, don't trade Rui, don't trade. We're in win now mode. We're trying to win right this season, and maybe the next 2 or 3. right? Rui is great for the long term. Problem is that like who knows where we'll be in 3 years, you know? But Andrew coming out with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Andrew. Tyler, I keep talking about it. The level of contested scoring from range DeMar is capable of is only surpassed by the likes of KD Debo is unguardable. I mean, look, he's been a model of consistency his whole career, right? I mean, he's been that consistent go-to guy down the stretch. He's been one of the best closers in the league the last few years. The problem is like the last like year and a half, Chicago's been terrible. So more times than not, they're not in tight games for him to close. But even this year, there've been a couple tight games and he's hit some big shots and had some big moments. He's a guy that is more than capable of just being that constant that you can go to down the stretch, hit some shots. He has one of the best just mid-range guys in the league. I mean, seriously, you put him up there with Kawhi and KD and guys like that. Like, I'm not saying he's as good as those guys, but his ability to just create his own shot and just be absolute money and butter from that mid-range, which I've talked about heavily on this channel, the mid-range shot is so important in the playoffs. So important. And having a guy like DeMar would be huge for the Lakers. So I'm right there with you, Andrew. We need somebody that has that constant. We need somebody that has that over the top shooting. We need somebody that just can provide some stability in the scoring department, especially when we go on these like stretches where guys just can't seem to score the basketball. To have a guy like a DeMar DeRozan that you can just give the ball to and he can go create, go draw contact to get to the basket, to get to the foul line. All of those things are they're very important, right? We don't really have anybody that can do that. So it is definitely needed. But Andrew, again, appreciate you. Jay, what is going on, Jay? Yo, Tyler, the first half was Tale of Two Halves, CFX. Yeah, I mean, which is what I talked about earlier. Like that's my biggest concern with this game is it was just Lakers going right back to old habits, right? I mean, look, I understand there is a level of like, hey, they just shot the lights out. Like, what are you going to do? You live with that. And I do understand that to an extent. But this was more than that. This was just, again, if this was an outlier game, like I would have came on here and I would have been like, hey, it happens. Guys shoot the lights out. Some random dude, comes in and has a game like this. It happens. Don't worry about it. Problem is that this has been a constant with the Lakers this year. So I don't think it's this outlier game. I think this is just kind of what the Lakers have been this year. This game shows exactly why the Lakers need DeMar DeRozan. I'm right there with you. I would love to get Lauri Markkanen, but I don't see that happening at all. If it does, I will be jumping up and down like a little kid. But I don't think we have anything close to get Lauri Markkanen. How come D'Lo didn't play in the fourth quarter? He dishes it nice. I mean, that's just been the thing. Like the Lakers just don't seem to trust him in the fourth quarter. The assists would be nice, but when LeBron is basically becoming your point guard in the fourth quarter and Reeves is on the ball so heavily, there just isn't as much of a need for D'Lo. So you're just not going to play him heavily. I know that they played him some in the Indiana game, and it actually worked, and it was good. But D'Lo, it's a trend with D'Lo. And why I think he's ultimately going to get traded. We were 51%, 9 threes, and still lost. Yeah. I mean, again, just poor execution, giving up offensive points, turning the ball over, missing free throws, right? If we made half the free throws that we missed, literally, if we made half the ones that we missed, we win this game. I figured we were going to lose this game due to playing some elimination games headed into the championship. Also, I don't think they need to add a third star. It's not worth it. Just add another. Again, it depends. They absolutely having a third star is good when you can still maintain flexibility and depth, right? But like you look at a team like the Suns, right? Like they have no versatility, flexibility, and depth. But the Lakers could literally go get DeMar DeRozan, and there's your third star, and you still have basically the exact same roster. right? Like if you could swap D'Lo and Rui for Andre Drummond and DeMar DeRozan, that's an upgrade. You're going to be better. And you'd have 3 stars and you'd have a 12 man roster, right? Like another thing that I've seen so many people say, which I just ignore, but it's just so silly that people even think this. Like I see so many people that are like, oh, if you like you go get a 3rd star, or you go get DeMar DeRozan, or you go get Zach LaVine, or especially Zach LaVine, which doesn't make sense. Oh, it's Russell Westbrook all over again. Those are 2 completely different situations. Like, yes, the lack of flexibility from a cap perspective hurt, but it only hurt because Russ didn't work. If Russell Westbrook worked, like if the idea of what bringing Russell Westbrook in was supposed to do actually did, then no one would have cared. Like nobody would be missing the 12-man roster, especially once you get to the playoffs. But the problem is Russell Westbrook was about as bad of a 3rd star as you could have next to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. It's not the same case with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Not even close, right? I don't like the idea of trading for Zach LaVine and his $40 million because I just don't think he's worth $40 million, right? Like I just don't think he's like if he was a $40 million year player, sure, go do that, right? If it was like Donovan Mitchell or something like that, sure, go get it, right? Go get that guy, but he's not. Like that's my only problem. If Zach LaVine was like a $30 million a year player, go get him right now. Like go trade for him, like make it happen. But it's just again, it wouldn't be the same thing, like right? Because you're still gonna be, even if you traded for Zach LaVine, you'd still be like 9 guys deep, which you're only running 7 or 8 in the playoffs anyway. And the Lakers only run like 9 guys really this year anyway. We def got outshot, yeah. Bad defense down stretch, lost this game. D'Lo no show, yeah. D'Lo's got to be better. Lakers did so bad in transition. 2, they had so many opportunities to get easy shots in transition and just couldn't finish. Yeah. Again, it was just a sloppy game. It was a very sloppy game that they just got to do a better job on. They really do. They got to do a better job. Reeves can do everything D'Lo can do and sometimes better. Not everything. Reeves isn't as good of a playmaker as D'Lo is, and D'Lo's been the better defender this year. But Reeves has been the better player without a doubt. But not everything. D'Lo has his positives, but the 2 of them are just redundant. They really are. They're just redundant. Let's see, Rui and Max plus picks for Lauri Markkanen. Problem is, we only have 1 first to trade, and a team like the Knicks or like even like especially like Oklahoma City, if they want to do, they could. I mean, the Knicks could literally give them 5 first-round picks and still have more firsts than we have to trade. Like we're very limited. But if we can't, for whatever reason, if Lauri Markkanen 1 becomes available, which I doubt, and 2, like Danny Ainge wants to throw a solid, I would basically open the roster and say you could have whoever you want, not named LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Like it'd be like whoever you want, you need to take it. Let's see. How can they win? They didn't defend the shooters, always double teaming Luka when he's already in the paint. I mean, well, that's what they did with Tyrese. That's how you slow down Luka. I didn't mind the double teaming, but guys got to do a better job of rotating. We did a better job of rotating against Indiana. What's your opinion on the Lakers hanging the tourney banner? I mean, I don't hate it. Like I didn't necessarily think that they needed to, right? Or you just do like the one banner thing where it's like, like kind of like teams or high schools and stuff like that will have like the one banner with all the things on it, or like the conference finals wins or winning the conference or whatever, like those are division titles. Like you'll see banners for that. It's like every year that it's happened, but it's on like one banner. I wouldn't have mind that to happen, and maybe they will because we don't know what this banner will look like. But like, I mean, I don't really care either way. It's still a championship for an in-season tournament, and like right now, the in-season tournament doesn't seem like much, but it's the first ever. It's the first ever in-season tournament. 5-10 years from now, the in-season tournament is going to be a huge deal. Like, there is going to be a point in history, I don't know when, again, could be 5 years, it'd probably be several years from now. I don't think it's going to happen like next year or anything like that. You got to get several of these under your belt. But in like 5, 10, 20 years, whatever, there's going to be a point where it's like, you know, Luka or Luka is better all time than Wemby. Like, and it's like, well, no, Wemby's better. It's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, Luka has 3 NBA finals with 3 finals MVPs, and he has 4 in-season tournament wins or championships and 4 MVPs. And Wemby, yeah, he has 5 NBA championships, but he only has 2 in-season tournament wins with MVPs, right? Like, and that'll be a conversation. At some point, this in-season tournament is going to be a big deal. Right now, people are trying to downplay it because it's the Lakers, because, you know, people hate us because they ain't us, right? You either love the Lakers or you just despise the Lakers and you're upset that your team isn't the Lakers. That's really what it boils down to, because, like, why else? Like, I'm not going out of my way to, like, go to, like, Dallas's chat and be like, oh, you guys suck. Like, you'll never win another championship. Like, I don't care. Like, it's not, like, I don't care, right? Like, if you win, congrats. Like, Denver, I wasn't like, oh, going to like, it just seems like people just love to, like, trash the Lakers because they won. It's like, oh, I had a comment where somebody was like, oh, well, they didn't have to play Denver or anything. I was like, whose fault is that? Like, did Denver just not play in the tournament? Like what, Indiana? Like, it's the Lakers' fault that Indiana beat Boston and Milwaukee? Like, the Lakers' job is to beat the team in front of you. Like, what does that mean? Nobody discredits Toronto's championship. No one's like, oh, you know, Kawhi and Toronto's championship doesn't count because Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant tore his Achilles, right? Draymond Green were all injured and they basically all fell apart. And that's the only reason they won. No one talks about what was 2007 Spurs championship, the lockout season. Like, no one says, like, oh, that shouldn't count because that's a shortened season. Like, it's just silly. But when it's the Lakers, everyone's like, oh, the Mickey Mouse reign. Like, cry about it. Why did your team win? Did nobody else play? Did the Lakers just show up and they just said, here's the trophy? No, Lakers beat everybody. Your excuse is like, even who was it? Lou Williams or whatever, that was like, oh, man, like, we stopped trying to play because we heard it would, like, people wouldn't respect it. Like, shut up. Sit your little ass down. Like, you lost. You had a 3-1 lead against Denver and got smacked. Like, quiet. Like, it's just stuff like that is just silly to me. But anyway, enough of my rant. I'm done ranting. What happened to Vanderbilt? My guess, I don't know for certain. My guess is it's just a back-to-back. So just being cautious. First game back-to-back. Better get on the phone now. Don't hold your breath. We can't make any trades till likely at the earliest January 15th. But it's probably not happening anytime soon. Even then, even once you get to January 15th, don't expect it immediately. Let's see. Y'all need to move D'Lo and Rui. That's probably going to happen. Let's see. Heavy on where's Vando? Dante Exum was amazing. Like I said, you got to give him credit. I missed the 2020 Lakers. They would have beaten the Mavs team by 15, and they would have been better on the boards too. I mean, yeah, but you had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. Like, even now, like, how many guys in the league are like those two were in 2020, right? Like who can you get that would really make that kind of impact this year? It's just a different team. This team is more versatile defensively this year than that 2020 team was. I mean, front to back, this team is better than the 2020 team. It's just that 2020 team was special. They had like, and people are always like, oh, like that 2020 team could shoot. They were like 26 in the league in 3-point percentage. They shot like 34.5%, some had 34 and a fourth percent, something like that from 3-point range. They weren't very good shooting the three. You know, it's just like this team as a whole is just, they just need to figure it out. This, like, the 2020 team just worked hard. Like, you never question their hustle. You never question their, like, intensity. You never question, like, just them showing up game in and game out. Where, like, this Lakers team, it's like you question, you like regularly question their effort, question their energy, question their intensity. There's just a lot of things that, like, this team just doesn't do that 2020 team did, right? So I don't know. I'm hoping that we get there. Hoping that we get there. Fingers crossed. Holding tight. Andrew, coming in and help the $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Tyler, you cooking? Well, thank you. I had to get that little rant out. Yeah, because I just don't want to go through the nonsense and like respond to every troll that says the same thing. So I was like, they always watch the videos anyway because they have nothing better to do. So I'm sure they'll watch this rant. And then there's your response. There you go. Like, it's just funny. Like, if anyone won this, everyone would be talking about how great, everyone would be talking about how great the championship was. And, oh my God, Indiana, what a story. But because it's the Lakers, and people act like the Lakers chose. Like, the Lakers, what? They got to just pick who they wanted to play in the finals. Right? Like, and then people are like, you didn't play anybody. Okay, so let's just pretend we didn't have to beat in a single elimination game Kevin Durant and Devin Booker that were 15-2 up until that point. Right? Let's pretend. Right? It's just people always trying to change the narrative is silly. Right? Like, facts over feelings. People are go cry. But where were we? Thank you again. I appreciate you. Shoot, it refreshed. Where was it? He just had a hot night. They not having Caruso hurt so much. What Pelinka is thinking, man. I mean, that wasn't so much Pelinka individually, as I'm sure it was Jeanie Buss, because that like came down to just finances. They don't want to pay him long term. Which it's not like he got like this huge contract when he got there and immediately the Lakers made it. So like, I don't like the problem is I don't know what, like, we don't know what the conversation was that led to like that decision. We just know that they let him go and that it was because of money, which I don't get that either. I'm with you. But at this point, I'm voting to get Tyler in the front office for these trades. Look, I would love a front office job. But look, I genuinely, like, seriously, well, first off, let me make it clear. If the NBA is watching, if the Lakers are watching, and you want me to be in the front office or on that sideline, you give me a call. We'll make it happen. But no, on a serious note, though, like, I trust Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka has shown that he knows what he's doing. Right? This guy constantly seems to turn water into wine. So, like, I trust that he'll find the best trade. I appreciate his patience. I know a lot of people in like Lakers Nation just don't like his patience. A lot of people don't like, and I'm not talking about the channel, I'm talking about Lakers Nation in general. That they don't have like the patience to like last year, everyone was screaming for a trade and stuff. And I just kept coming on here and was like, just be patient, trust Rob Pelinka. I heard all the noise and all that stuff. People telling me I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. And guess what? One of us was right. So again, just I'm willing to remain patient. We're still going to be good enough to where we're going to be fine. We're not going to be like how it was last year. Like, we'll win some games, we'll lose some games, be in the middle of the pack. We'll get to the trade deadline. We'll find that trade, and then hopefully we can make that push to secure a quality seeding. Right? That's kind of where I'm at with this. But I trust Rob Pelinka fully. Like, if there's a deal on the table, Rob Pelinka will find it and make the right deal. So I'm with it. Andrew, coming in out the $2 super chat again. Thank you so much. Didn't Pelinka want DeMar before the Russ move? Yes. So Rob Pelinka had a deal done with Sacramento to get Buddy Hield, and DeMar DeRozan himself said in an interview with who was it? Was it with Taylor Rooks? I think it was Taylor Rooks interview. Off the top of my head, I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Taylor Rooks' interview. But literally, he said in an interview that he thought that he was going to Lakers. He thought it was all worked out and everything was done, and he was going to Lakers. And then he heard that they traded for Russell Westbrook. So Rob Pelinka had deals done, but then LeBron and AD had that meeting at, I think it was AD's house or whatever, with Russ, and they all said that they wanted to sacrifice. I mean, LeBron, AD, and Westbrook told you. Like, that wasn't like some secret insider information. They literally relayed that to us. And so you had that. And then LeBron and AD went to Jeanie and said, hey, we want Russell Westbrook. Go get Russell Westbrook. We'll get it to work. Remember that they were like hanging out at like, what was it, the Summer League game or something like that together? Or whatever it was. I don't think it was a Summer League game. I think it was like I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but it might have been something like game. But he was handing out, like they were all three of them were hanging out together, and all those rumors started speculating of like, is Russ going to the Lakers? Like, what's happening here? And then boom, he gets traded to the Lakers. Like after the Buddy Hield trade was announced, like they were like the Buddy Hield trade was done, finalized. That's why the Sixers ended up shipping him out because they had to trade him because they already traded him. The deal was done. The Kings were all upset about that, which I don't blame them. But yes, you're correct. DeMar DeRozan would have probably already been a Laker. Let's see. Why does everyone want to trade D'Lo? Because he's just look. I like D'Lo. I've defended D'Lo. I've stuck up for D'Lo, but he hasn't been it this year. He's been too inconsistent this year. But also, he's the most likely to be traded, contract wise, longevity. Like, who else are you going to trade? Right? You need salary to match. So he's kind of like the odd man out. Also, him and Reeves are just redundant. They are. It's so hard to play the two of them together. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find something. Let's see. Why were Prince and Ruby guarding Luka at crucial times? Because he was torching Reddish and everyone else. AD showed so many elements in the second half. I loved it. I really liked AD this game. I hope he keeps doing that. Probably won't play tomorrow. That's my concern too. I don't see them trading Markkanen. Don't hold your breath on Lauri Markkanen. Like he's young enough to where it does. Like they can rebuild, and he's still young enough to where that would make sense. Darvin's defense schemes tonight were atrocious. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, it was the same defensive scheme that they ran against Indiana, right? Try to lock on Luka. The difference is that guys were hitting shots, right? You have to leave guys open to trap that. They were trying to trap and lock down Luka and try to contain him as much as possible because he's the engine in the motor, just like they try to do with Tyrese Halliburton. Problem is that you had Dante Exum just shoot the lights out ridiculously, like historically, or well for him, like great, right? He had a literally career night, and then you had guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Grant Williams, and all that stuff. I mean, they just shot the lights out. So they ran the same scheme. Like everyone was praising the Lakers defense against Indiana. Like Lakers defense against Indiana was perfect, right? But it was also guys weren't hitting shots. Like if you go back and watch that game, but even Buddy Hield, as great of a shooter as he is, he had like 3 or 4 like wide, I mean like no one around wide open threes. Because the way they looked at it is like if Buddy Hield beats you, they will let him beat you. The way that the Lakers looked at it is like if Dante Exum and Grant Williams beat us, then Dante Exum and Grant Williams beat us. And guess what? Dante Exum and Grant Williams beat you. You know, it happens. You gotta live with it, and you don't. You know, but look, if he would have ran a different scheme and didn't, close hard on Luka, then everyone would have been like, "Oh, why aren't you defending?" Again, no matter how good of a defensive scheme you have, when a team is just basically abusing you, it's going to look bad, no matter what kind of defense scheme you have. But it was very similar to what they ran against Indiana. It just this time it didn't work. So I mean, if it worked, everyone would have been praising Darvin Ham. Didn't work this time because credit Dante Exum, credit Grant Williams. Those two guys shot the lights out. So let's see. Andrew, coming in hot, the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, you've been very kind today. I appreciate that. Once you trade for DeMar, everyone will look back and realize how many more rings the Lakers would have if they signed him back then. This year will do. Yeah, I mean, well, also you got to keep him. Well, I guess you can make the argument if DeMar was on the team, maybe LeBron and AD wouldn't have gotten as hurt the last few years. But you also got to keep in mind, like LeBron and AD were hurt the last few years, right? Like this is the healthiest LeBron and AD have looked in a while. But like I said, I mean, you can go back and you can make that argument of like, well, if you had DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James wouldn't have had to do so much, especially last year. And they honestly might have won the championship last year if they had DeMar DeRozan, assuming that they still got like Jared Vanderbilt and some of the other guys. Because I still think like if they would have just got DeMar DeRozan and you still had like Patrick Beverly and all that other stuff, then in that case, I don't know. But like, let's say instead of getting D'Lo, you went and got DeMar DeRozan instead, which you could have done because he was only making like 25 million last. He was making like the same amount as D'Lo last year, so you could have went and got him and worked out like a 3-team trade same way or whatever. So you could have gotten DeMar DeRozan. So like, let's assume instead of D'Lo, you got DeMar. Then yeah, I think the Lakers won the championship last year. And yeah, I mean that 2021 or whatever year where we got Russ, we signed all those other guys. I still don't know if we win that year. Like I really don't, because that would have been the year that we would have gotten DeMar over Russ, because that team was terrible. And it wasn't just like, oh man, if we just had a scorer like DeMar, we would have won that. I mean, we were like the worst defensive team, the worst shooting team. We were old. Like that was just so I don't know if like that would have changed, but I do think we would have won last year. So like, let's say we get DeMar, let's say we trade for DeMar DeRozan, and we win the chip this year. I think the only real thing is like maybe they would have went back to back, right? But I do agree with you that this year we'll do. If we trade for DeMar and go win a chip, I'll take that gladly. But Andrew, thank you so much again. I really appreciate that. All right, where were we? All right, I'm gonna power through some more questions, like another like row or two of questions, and then I'm gonna get on out of here because I want to get some videos, some late night videos up. Do that stuff, some stuff that I want to talk about. What would be the best trade package for D'Lo? I mean, one, it depends on what's out there, but definitely for me, like I almost like I've really thought about this a lot. I've actually thought about making a video about it because I touched on it in my Brooklyn Nets video, and like the more I think about it, the more I'm like that might be the best thing possible. I would love if the Lakers went and traded, for like DeMar DeRozan, and then separately traded for like, or go trade for DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond, because I still really want Andre Drummond because I just think he'd be more reliable in the playoffs than Jackson Hayes. To me, like realistically, again, trying to keep it within range. Obviously, the best trade would be like, like somebody mentioned, like Lauri Markkanen or something like that. I just don't think that that's realistic. But a realistic trade that I think would just be chef kiss: go get DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond. Sorry, I don't know why I blanked on that. And I don't believe we're going to be able to get Alex Caruso. I just think there's too many teams that want him. And if it's a bidding war, the Lakers just are limited to resources. Go get Dorian Finney-Smith. If we could turn D'Lo and Rui with like, a Jalen Hood-Schifino or something like that into DeMar, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Andre Drummond, I think that solves almost all of our issues. Like almost all. Like I would like a little beefier of a center, but that's fine, right? Like you take what you can get, right? I think Andre Drummond would be another body that you could throw at him. You could rebound on stuff. If we could find a way to go get DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond, and Dorian Finney-Smith, I think that'd be perfect. Because then you basically just got an upgrade on Jared Vanderbilt, not as elite defensively, but still very good defensively. You basically got a better Taurean Prince, right? You got like same size, better defensive guy, and better shooter. And he's shooting like 45% from three this year. And we go get Dorian Finney-Smith with Andre Drummond and DeMar DeRozan, I think we win the championship. I think we're the best. I think now we're in that tier with Boston and Denver. That's just me personally. Yeah, we should have just better on defense to shooters and Tim Hardaway Jr. Yeah, at least definitely the shooters. Like I would have been fine if they let Tim Hardaway Jr. cook and just like kept Dante Exum and Grant Williams honest, right? Because I mean, again, you have to give up something. But I just think like if Tim Hardaway Jr. would have went off, because I mean he already went off this game. He had 35 or something like that. Which credit Tim Hardaway Jr. because this was a big matchup for six man. So Austin Reeves and Tim Hardaway Jr. are basically 1A, 1B for six man of the year. And you had Tim Hardaway Jr. drop 32 off the bench. Reeves gave you 22, but this was huge for that six man of the year argument, six man of the year conversation, which is what I want to talk about in a video, which is why I'm going to probably wrap this up here in a moment. But yeah, I would have been okay with them just kind of like let Tim Hardaway Jr. go for 40 because that would only been 8 more points. And if you contain Dante Exum and Grant Williams, you win the game. But that's kind of my thing. No second half adjustments defensively. I mean, the second half is where we came back, right? That third quarter. I mean, there were clearly adjustments. I mean, we went from down 15 to having the lead. So I mean, in my opinion, there were clearly adjustments made. Had a fluke game for 3-point percentage. Oh, absolutely. I like Taurean Prince tonight. I hope he continues to play this way. I genuinely do. I really do. If he can continue to play this way, I think that would be just beautiful. Andrew, coming out, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I really do appreciate that. Tyler, I was literally typing that trade as we speak. Oh, see, look, great minds think alike. See, look at that. Completely agree. D'Lo, JHS, Wood, Prince, in our first for DeMar and Drummond. Then Rui in a second for Dorian Finney-Smith. Exactly. Yeah, I mentioned it in my Nets trade video because I'm going through all the teams that the Lakers are interested or monitoring. So I'm kind of going through them, and I talked about the Brooklyn Nets. And at the end of literally at the tail end of that video, it popped in my head. I was like, man, if we could get DeMar DeRozan, Dorian Finney-Smith, and I even said at the end of that video, like I might make a video about that directly because I do. I just think like there's 3 things we need desperately, right? We need over-the-top shooting and a consistent go-to scorer. DeMar DeRozan solves that. We need another big man. Andre Drummond solves that. And we need another perimeter defensive 3-and-D guy. Dorian Finney-Smith solves that. Literally solves like all of our issues. And we just got those 3 guys. If we can find a way to get those 3 guys. So whatever you have to do to turn D'Lo and Rui and whatever else into Dorian Finney-Smith and DeMar DeRozan and Andre Drummond, I think you hit it out the park. I think you win I think now you're in that conversation with Boston Celtics and Denver Nuggets. Like I actually would put them over Denver. Because now you got like Cam Reddish, Dorian Finney-Smith, you got Jared Vanderbilt. If you keep Gabe Vincent, which I imagine that they would, you got Gabe Vincent also. So you got basically 3 to 4 bodies that you could throw at Jamal Murray to kind of just put size, length, and just disrupt him because you're never going to stop Jokic, right? So many people are like, oh, we need a Jokic stopper. That doesn't exist. There's nobody in the NBA that's going to slow down Jokic enough to where you're going to just run through Denver. It's not going to happen, right? But what you can do is you can wear him down over a 7-game series by throwing, Anthony Davis, a Christian Wood, a Jackson Hayes, Andre Drummond, right? And you just throw all these bodies at, or if you trade Wood or you trade Hayes, whomever, right? Then you still have 3 guys, so you're just throwing all these bodies at Jokic and you're just wearing them down. You're giving him good, hard playoff fouls, and you just do what you can to try to keep him honest. To me, I think if you can contain Jamal Murray, and you can basically not let him be Michael Jordan for a series, which he literally was in that Lakers series. I mean, it was his best series he's ever had for his career. So if you can keep him honest, which I think Dorian Finney-Smith, Jared Vanderbilt, and Cam Reddish could help do, and then you also have Gabe Vincent. I think we beat Denver. I really do. I think my only concern would be Boston, but we would match up so much better to Boston. But Boston, I think, to me, Boston is the most complete team. It pains me to say that. I hate it because, we're Laker fans here, right? But Boston, my only problem is I still don't believe in Boston's mental toughness. I just think, like, every year they're, like, arguably the best team in the league, and every year they fold. As soon as, like, push comes to shove, boom, they fold. Every time. So, to me, I still don't, like, it's one of those things, like, until I see you do that, like, until I see you change it, I just don't believe in you, That's just my thoughts. But Andrew, again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And Stokes coming in hot to $2 super chat. Thank you so much. So unless I get another super chat, I'm going to end it here. I'm going to finish the super chat and then skate on out of here. Because like I said, I want to get a video up before it gets too late. So I got to go record that and like quickly edit it and stuff. So unless I get another super chat, this is going to be the last comment. So yeah, we'll get into it. Too much ball watching. Stakes. First off, thank you so much for $2 super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Secondly, yeah, I mentioned it earlier. I don't know if you were here or not, but just they didn't rotate, right? Like I talked about earlier, they ran the same defensive scheme as they did against Indiana. One, Dallas hit shots and Indiana did it. But secondly, a big problem was guys just failed to rotate. One of the moments that I highlighted earlier, which was I thought was a huge play, was that Lively, right? When Lively got that dunk where he basically like slipped that screen, they doubled Luka with AD, and then Luka just gave that lob and he was able to slam it home. I believe it was Taurean Prince was right there. You got to rotate that, man. You got to have the awareness of what is happening. You have to have the awareness of like this guy, like, and that happened several times. I mean, we got so many like just easy, or they got so many easy buckets because guys just weren't rotating. Guys weren't hitting what they needed to hit, right? And just leaving guys like wide open, right? When you're running the defense that they were running to try to like contain and hit hard on Luka, you're gonna give up the open man. But they never made that like shift of like, okay, Dante Exum is shooting, 30 threes and making 29 of them. Like, stop him. Like, rotate. Don't worry about this guy over here. If Jaden Hardy, who is not killing you, starts killing you, well then, sorry, you're gonna lose regardless. But at least stop the guy that has beaten you, right? Like, same thing with like Grant Williams. They kept leaving him wide open. It's like, dude, the two guys that are torching you from the outside, you just are the two guys that you keep making the conscious effort to say, those are the two guys we're going to leave open. Like, it's stuff like that is just, that's where the ball watching comes in. It really was. Like, they got to do a better job. They have to do a better job. Got to do a better job. But anyway, I'm going to get on out of here, everyone. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me. Thank you for all the super chats, too. It really does help me a ton. Like I said, if this was an outlier game, if this was just some, one-off game where it was just like, hey, you know what? It happens. Guys shoot the lights out on the occasion. It sucks, right? Like something like that happens. Like I would have came on here and I'd have been like, hey, don't worry about it. We'll be fine. But it's just, we got out of the in-season tournament. We won. And even if we lost this game, that would have been fine for me, depending on how we lost. The problem is we lost exactly how we've lost pretty much all the games this year. Just lack of energy, not rotating, giving up offensive rebounds, not hitting free throws, not hitting shots. Like, it's becoming a trend. And it's like, come on, man. Like, I thought we got through this. I thought we figured this out during the in-season tournament. I watched you guys fix all your problems. Not all of them, but I saw you fix a big issue, a big bulk of those issues in the in-season tournament. And then we come here and in a game that we absolutely should have won, we just failed to win it. It's frustrating. It really is. It's frustrating. But anyway, again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. We do these post-game streams after every game. And I usually do the watch-alongs. It's just hard for me to do the 4 o'clock ones because it's like right when like girls going to work, kids are like just getting off of school wide awake. So it's like really tough for me. But I definitely do the watch-along games for the later games. But always do the post-game stream. So anyway, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you all. Thank you. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you. Peace.